Salam sejahtera dan bersama saya Rizal Zulkapli dan ini AWANI Global, dan pada minggu ini kami masih lagi bersiaran di rumah sebagai salah satu usaha kami untuk mengekang penularan COVID-19. Dan bagaimanakah hubungan antara Malaysia dan juga Uzbekistan yang sudah hampir 30 tahun terjalin terkesan akibat pandemik COVID-19, dan juga bagaimanakah misi luar di Malaysia menjalankan tugas dan mandat mereka di tengah pandemik COVID-19. Untuk membincangkan berkenaan dengan perkara tersebut, ikuti temubual saya bersama dengan Tuan yang terutama Duta Besar Uzbekistan ke Malaysia, Tuan yang terutama Ravshan Usmanov, dalam temubual yang telah saya rakamkan.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for joining us. Now, first of all, the past year, 2020, in many respects, was not easy for the whole world, including Uzbekistan and Malaysia. In that regard, how did the pandemic affect activities of the diplomatic mission headed by you, Your Excellency?
So actually, our day-by-day work was not that affected, and I'm proud to say that actually embassy succeeded to keep the path and even to get some results during the 2020 in terms, if we talk about the relations between Uzbekistan and Malaysia. Numerous talks with our partners here. And also our work here actually had some new issues and challenges, such as to bring back the stranded people from Uzbekistan to Malaysia and from Malaysia to Uzbekistan. And we succeeded to do 2 flights from KL to Tashkent at the beginning of pandemic, and successfully brought back Uzbek citizens back to their homes.
But what are some of the challenges? I think when it comes to working from home or doing these negotiations, these discussions from home, because we, Astro Awani, we do our broadcast from home, and sometimes it's a bit challenging because of the technology. But what about your side? What kind of challenges do you face, and how do you overcome that?
Actually, it's not the challenge. It's just a matter of readjust yourself to work online. And actually, it became easier for us to meet with the local authorities by online. And I would like to express our gratitude to the government of Malaysia. They were always very friendly and welcoming to our request to have meetings and negotiations and to discuss everyday issues with our embassy.
Tell us about the students, Uzbek students in Malaysia right now. I think pre-discussion we found out that the number is around 200 students currently in Malaysia. How do you support them right now?
Actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. We have around 200 Uzbek students studying here in Malaysia, and they do their studies online as well. And we, as an embassy, helping them with that. At the beginning of pandemic, we were providing face masks, sanitizers, and other necessities to them, because do you remember? You remember that at the beginning it was a little bit people were a little bit panicking, but right now everybody readjusts themselves to that pandemic and live, and we all have to live with this issue in our mind. And our embassy has a hotline, and every student or every Uzbek citizen who is residing here in Malaysia is more than welcome to call us, and we have all the time in contact with them and helping them.
Has the purpose of the mission changed because of the pandemic?
Actually, to be honest, not, because one of the main, as you know, main priorities for every embassy is to conduct the friendly relations with the host country, to boost economy, political dialogue, humanitarian ties, and also very important to protect the interests of the Uzbek citizens living abroad. So we are doing the same in spite of pandemic.
On the 21st of February 2021, Uzbekistan and Malaysia will be celebrating its 29th anniversary of the diplomatic relations. Could you be so kind enough to brief us on the history of the establishment of the mission and the relations between both our countries?
Sure. 21st of February 1992, diplomatic relations were established between Uzbekistan and Malaysia, And by the way, before that, Malaysia was one of the first countries in Southeast Asia who recognized the independence of Uzbekistan on the 1st of January 1992. And since then, the relations were very good, and we had a few visits on the highest level from our late president, and also by then Prime Minister of Malaysia to Uzbekistan, and also the king was there. But actually, it was quite many years ago, and at the moment, actually, it's a high time to reload these relations and to keep up the pace of political dialogue. I'd like to say that actually we have very good friendly relations with our colleagues back in Tashkent, I mean the Malaysian embassy in Uzbekistan, and we have some joint projects together with them, and we are always in contact together.
How have you seen the relations between Malaysia and Uzbekistan develop and change during that period?
Yeah, all right, thank you. I'd like to say that actually Uzbek-Malaysian relations has grown exponentially over almost 30 years. In particular, reforms which are conducting now by our president, His Excellency Shavkat Mirziyoyev, is giving the very good stimul and the impetus to all of us. If we talk about the diplomats and ambassadors, and brought warm and friendly bilateral relations between two nations to the new level, and created possibilities to further enhance cooperation in every possible sector. Talking about the recent major achievements, if I may, in bilateral relations, I would like to say that last year we witnessed the establishment of friendship groups in parliaments of two countries, and actually it all happened during the pandemic, by the way. And we had first interparliamentary forum, online forum, which was headed by the first Deputy Speaker of Uzbek Parliament, and Mr. Akmal Saidov, His Excellency, and by the Deputy Speaker of the Malaysian Parliament, His Excellency Rashid bin Hasnon. They established very good friendship and warm relations, and at the moment we are planning to have the second interparliamentary forum this year. Moreover, if we talk about the political dialogue, we had in 2019 political consultations between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of two countries. It was the visit of the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs to Uzbekistan in 2019. Moreover, our high-level delegation actually visited KL Summit and participated in that work, and it was the only country, by the way, from the Central Asia which was invited to that event. And for the first time in the history, by the way, in October 2020, Uzbekistan was elected to UN Human Rights Council for 2021 to 2023. And in the framework of that, I would like to say that we have very close relations in terms of human rights between our two countries. In November last year, Professor Dato Nur Azia Awal, Children's Commissioner of Suhakam, Malaysia, participated with a comprehensive speech at the International Web Forum Children's Right to Education, which was timed to the World Children's Day, organized by Uzbek International Public Fund Zamin, together with UNICEF. As well, on the Human Rights Day, 10th of December last year, National Center of Uzbekistan for Human Rights and the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, Suhakam, held a virtual online signing ceremony of Memorandum of Understanding. In terms of trade and economy, I'd like to say that actually our trade between two countries last year accounted for 75 million USD. Currently, there are 31 enterprises, including 21 of them with 100% Malaysian share in oil and gas, textile, furniture, electrotechnical products, and other spheres. are working in Uzbekistan. Also, Matrade has opened its office in Tashkent 2 years ago. We're very proud of that. In addition, in September 2020, we had very productive and comprehensive talk between His Excellency Mr. Sardor Umurzakov, Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of International Trade and Investments of Uzbekistan, and His Excellency Senior Minister, Minister of International Trade and Investment of Malaysia, Mr. Azmin Ali. So they discussed a lot of issues in terms of boosting our economical ties, trade and investment, and agreed to renewal the work of Malaysian Uzbekistan Joint Trade Committee meeting. And also, on top of that, the sides agreed to have the new institution in terms of economy between two countries. It's going to be called Malaysian Uzbekistan Business Council on the level of deputy ministers. So this work is actually aimed to institutionalize our economical relations between two countries, and I hope this year we'll have the meetings of these both councils institutions. Again, during pandemic, we managed to have a number of webinars and online seminars with our Malaysian partners, namely with the Royal Malaysian Customs Department, Department of Statistics of Malaysia, and Malaysian Competition Commission. Actually, those webinars were aimed to share best practices with Uzbek colleagues in the above-mentioned spheres, and we are very glad that we managed to have them, and I hope this year we'll continue this job.
But in terms of the trade numbers, 75 million is still quite small. Perhaps you find or you know opportunities for Uzbek businesses to invest in Malaysia and Malaysian businesses to invest in Uzbek and increase trade between two countries. Are you working towards that?
Yes, we are working on that, and I can tell you that actually I mentioned that that figure. Of course, it's do not respond to the potential of two countries. But again, out of 75 million USD, I mean, the trade, the export of Uzbekistan is 11 millions, but before that it was even less. So we managed to increase the export to Malaysia because actually we see this country is one of our important and key players in this region, and the businessmen from Uzbekistan are very eager and keen to work with Malaysian market and to send as many Uzbek goods to Malaysia as possible. And also working here in the Uzbek embassy in Malaysia, we're doing our best to attract as many investments to Uzbekistan as possible. I mean, we managed to do that in chemical industry, in IT sphere, and in other areas as well.
Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. Now, Your Excellency, because of the pandemic, people can't travel, borders are still closed, but Uzbekistan is still very aggressive in promoting tourism in Muslim countries or among Muslim countries, including Malaysia. Can you share with us what is happening right now? Is this a good time to keep promoting Uzbekistan as the destination for travels? Tell us about that.
Yeah, thank you. Tourism is one of the key areas of cooperation with Malaysia, and in 2020, despite of current situation with the coronavirus pandemic in the world, with embassy regular carries out targeted work to promote ziyarat tourism, namely religious tourism of Uzbekistan in Malaysia. For these purposes, meetings were held with the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Minister of Religious Affairs, Director General of Islamic Tourism Center, Secretary General of Ministry of Tourism of Malaysia, as well as heads of major Malaysian travel companies. Uzbek diplomatic mission is actively working on promoting tourist image of Uzbekistan as a safe country for the health of tourists, especially nowadays during pandemic. And we have a new slogan in Uzbekistan for tourism. It's called Uzbekistan Safe Travel Guaranteed. So this we do that through the social network and also with the help of Malaysian celebrities to promoting it on their accounts in the internet. And by the way, at the moment, Malaysia is in green zone to travel to Uzbekistan. So if Malaysian citizens are planning to come to Uzbekistan, there is no restrictions. They just grab the ticket and come to our country. Also, I'd like to say that actually in November 2020, it was very good meeting, online meeting between deputy chairman of the tourism committee of Uzbekistan and general director on tourism of Malaysia, and they agreed to mutually promote both destinations of Uzbekistan and Malaysia, and hopefully as soon as the restrictions on the border for Malaysian people will be lifted, we are waiting for more Malaysians to come to Uzbekistan. But before that, of course, we need to, as you rightly said, to be aggressive on this market. And by saying that, I can tell you that actually not quite long ago, before pandemic, we appointed our tourism ambassadors here in Malaysia. One of them is actually Mufti of Perlis, also known as Dr. Mazhar. He is our Islamic tourism ambassador of Uzbekistan. And the second one is rising star and promising actor Daler Yusuf. He is a tourism ambassador of Uzbekistan. So by the help of these two people, we are promoting Uzbekistan in spite of pandemic here. And again, we are waiting as soon as the border control will allow, the Malaysian people will restart coming to Uzbekistan. But I mentioned the cultural events which we had before pandemic. One of them I would like to highlight. It's actually together with the famous designer Jimmy Choo, we had the gala designer show here in Malaysia. We invited the designers from Central Asian countries and Uzbekistan, and they had very good show here in the Mandarin Hotel. And we are very proud that actually it has very good acceptance by the Malaysian audience and raised the awareness of our country here, not only as a tourism destination, but also as a cultural, designer, innovative center for Malaysian people to visit.
As we know, 60% of Uzbekistan's population is youth, the young people. In this regards, education, of course, plays an important role in social policy of this new Uzbekistan. What can you tell us about the cooperation in the sphere of education and people-to-people diplomacy? Because I guess we've talked about dollars and cents, we've talked about tourism, but let's talk about the people-to-people relations between both countries.
Yeah, people-to-people relations are very important for every country, and taking into consideration that actually we have a lot of similarities between our two countries. I mean, the customs, traditions, our common religion, and one of the pillars of that people-to-people relations is actually education. And as we mentioned before, Malaysia served as an educational hub for students in this region, and we have, as I said, a number of students studying here. But we actually, at the moment, upgrade our relations in terms of education, and we are inviting Malaysian universities to open their branches in Uzbekistan. And one of the examples of the last year, it is the first, I'm proud to say that in December 2020, the first Malaysian university in the region of Kharazm. This is the place in Uzbekistan situated on the west of the country, was opened. The name of this university is Binary International University in Urgench City. It's functioning already. People are studying there. Students from Uzbekistan and from neighboring Central Asian countries are studying there online at the moment, but offline studies are planned in spring, namely starting from April. And we actually, I'd like to say that it's not the only one university we are having and planning to have in our country. We are having quite good relations with the NCF, Center for Education on Islamic Finance, Putra Business School, Mara University, Institute for Diplomacy and Foreign Relations of Malaysia, who are having close relations with their Uzbek partners and holding the webinars and online lectures for Uzbek students. And again, one of the things which can boost people-to-people relations, it is actually our cooperation in innovations. And we had a number of con calls between our young people who are working in IT parks or techno parks back in Uzbekistan with their friends, with their partners here in Malaysia. And one of the main partner for them is MAGIC. It's Malaysian Global Innovation and Creative Center, and also with the help of the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation of Malaysia, we are holding these events. And I hope that as soon as the pandemic will allow, the young startuppers from both countries can visit each other and exchange the best practices with each other.
Moving forward, Your Excellency, how do you see both countries taking these bilateral relations to another phase altogether? I mean, 30 years is not a short period. We've learned so much from each other. We've established institutions in each other's in our countries. So, how do you see both countries taking these relations to another phase, another better phase moving forward?
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right. Our relations are on a very good path, and I hope that with all the above mentioned issues, if we will be able to upgrade our relations in terms of economic cooperation, in terms of education, tourism, and people-to-people platform, I think this will have inevitable result of making two nations closer to each other. And again, if we talk about the people-to-people relations, I'd like to mention and express the gratitude to the Malaysian government for the MTCP program, which is quite fruitful and productive, because a lot of young people who are working now in the different ministries in Uzbekistan, they actually came to Uzbekistan, to Malaysia, and participated in that Malaysian technical cooperation program. And they have very good memories about this country. And this is actually making a sort of network of people, friends of Malaysia in Uzbekistan. So with the help of those people and with the help of the younger generation who is living and very working, studying, and very creative in Uzbekistan, in new Uzbekistan, I think they will be able to make our relations closer. And as this year in Uzbekistan, our president proclaimed as the year of the youth and the support of youth. I think with the help of that program, more and more younger people will be able to have more friends and have the best practices from abroad to actually adopt them to Uzbek reality and help us diplomats to have more and more friendly and close relations with the countries, with the host countries, and namely with Malaysia.
And before we end the interview, Your Excellency, tell us more about this new Uzbekistan. I think we've mentioned it a few times, but maybe you can share with us the progress of building this new Uzbekistan, looking at how this could probably be the best time to reset things. We move forward in the new era post-COVID-19. Tell us more about new Uzbekistan.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Not quite long ago, namely 4 years ago, we have a new government, new president, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, who came to power in our country. And at the moment, he actually reviving the country, and Uzbekistan is becoming the country of we call it the country of the third renaissance. It means this is the revival of the whole nation in terms of economy, democracy, politics, education, any sphere, you name it. And if you follow the news from Uzbekistan, you can see that actually a lot of changes is taking place in our country. And us and as a diplomat, sometimes living here in Malaysia, it's quite hard to be on the same path with the dynamic and the energy of our president, but we are doing our best to do so. And I think with that energy and that dynamism which we are facing now in Uzbekistan, we will get the results very soon, and we are having some of them already. And all those achievements which I mentioned in terms of our bilateral relations, it is due to the policy of the new Uzbekistan. And I hope we'll achieve more, and I hope that from the help of Malaysian partners, we'll get a better result in the future.
On that note, we thank you very much, Your Excellency Ravshan Usmanov, the Ambassador of Republic of Uzbekistan to Malaysia. Thank you very much for joining us in this conversation.
Thanks a lot.